that is too. I mean, that is only valuable for the IETF. So.
Well, I don't think it's only valuable for the IETF. I don't think there's any gap in the protocols for doing that simply. I think it's a tooling issue. Somebody needs to make a tool that links Doodle with WebEx and things like that.
Okay.
Because it's a matter of having the applications, the data moving from application to application. But I think the standards are there to support it.
So yeah, that would be my. I got crazy to just.
Yeah, but I'll talk with people about whether we can have the Secretariat handle some of that for you. So at least so that, because they're doing a number of steps anyway. So if they do the linking, that might be less error prone. I'll discuss that with people. We'll see what we can do.
Anyway, it appears it's actually time to start the meeting.
Yeah. So let's start. So welcome to the CALEXT interim. No, it's not an interim meeting this time. It's the real IETF 108 meeting. Please have a look at the notewells. I guess you're pretty much familiar to those. If you're not, take the time to read those. And if you have any questions, just come back to your chairs or your AD, and we'll be happy to make any clarification. Here is the agenda today. I think we should go to, I mean, does anyone has to, any comment regarding the agenda? Maybe we have a short status update. Braun, do you want to make it, or? My feeling, so I can start, and you correct me if you want, if I'm saying something wrong, or if you want to add something. We're essentially pushing for the GS calendar draft now, so that's where our focus in, and we put on hold all the other draft that requires some minor steps to wider steps, but our focus is to throughout the GS calendar, and we had the VLR that is almost ready. Barry, I mean, Braun or Barry, do you want to add something, or do you have something to say for the working group? Hearing none. Oh, Braun.
No, I was just dropping in to say that that seems pretty right to me. Glancing at the milestones that we have coming up, that also fits in with submitting VLARM and submitting JS calendar are the things we're expecting to do now. And the next things are all set for December 2020 and out, apart from the scheduling controls document, which I have not updated. That's a document that's with me. It's very, very simple, but it's just considering whether it's actually worth doing or not has been the question for me. But I'll get onto that on the list.
Okay. Time slot. So, GS calendar. Is Robert online, or? Okay. Hi, Robert.
Yeah, just looking here. Neil is also here, so Neil, please jump in when you think. So status is that after the interim meeting, we did the points. We updated based on the points discussed. There were only some minor tweaks in the last few weeks, which didn't do any further semantic changes in the model. I don't really see any blocking open point for entering last call, and then all the focus should be on also finalizing the mapping document where Mike has put in a lot of effort, thankfully. Neil, you have something to add?
Please jump, Neil. Or do I need to do something? Oh, no, okay, you're here.
Yeah, I just wanted to just briefly mention, in terms of, so following the interim meeting, we added things that were discussed there, just some other things that were missing from previous iCalendar that people wanted for compatibility. So just some brief comments on those. The schedule force send property on participants, that's something you can set to ask the server to send an iMessage again, essentially, even though it normally wouldn't. In iCalendar, that's the method name you put, but given that there's only one allowed method name in any particular context, I just made that a Boolean of true. So just noting that, if anyone objects, please speak now or forever hold your peace. The other thing I wanted to mention was adding in excluded recurrence rules, which was requested, and that's where I've made one slight difference to how 2245 does it. So these were deprecated in 5545, but we've put them back in again. The difference is how it combines with RDate, which would be kind of weird if you were doing this anyway, but in 2245, the RDate is overridden by the excluded recurrence rule. So even though you explicitly said it's going to happen on this day, that gets cancelled. I've put it the other way around because one of the explicit goals in JS calendar, one of the things we fixed was you can't have these kind of orphaned overrides that have data that doesn't actually apply, because in the recurrence overrides property in JS calendar, it's either matches the recurrence rule, in which case it overrides the properties, or it's an implicit RDate, so it causes a recurrence then. So I want to keep that property, but that does mean there is a slight difference to 2245, because in JS calendar it goes, you do your recurrence rules, and then you do your excluded recurrence rules to omit that, and then you do your RDates, then you do your XDates, essentially, which I think is much more logical ordering. But I wanted to note that. So anyone got any comments on that?
So I'm just wondering who challenged you on that, or
on what? Sorry.
On the date format and.
Well, no one's challenged. So no one's challenged on this. It was just the
last interim.
Yeah, the last interim, we ended up agreeing we would add back in these excluded recurrence rules, which were way back in 2445, but as I said, deprecated in 5545. And I'm just saying that adding them back in, there's a slight change in semantics because the original version, I think is poor semantics. I really wouldn't want to have that in JS calendar.
So Neil, this is Ken. I think what you did makes sense to me. In fact, given that RDate is additions to the R rule, I'm not sure how an EX rule would match an RDate anyways.
Well, because the EX rule is a different rule. So if it happens to coincide with one.
Yeah, like, if it happens to, but normally the EX rule would be subtracting from the R rule. So I think what you did makes sense.
Cool. Okay. That was what I just wanted to note those here. What I did. Robert, I guess back to you.
So one question I had is, do we have a version with the JS calendar?
So what do you mean?
For example, if we are updating this, do we have a JS calendar version 1, version 2, or?
You mean in the data format? No, we do not.
Okay.
Like generally, I think it's better to define different properties instead.
Mm.
You can define alternate property name and define the semantics for that, and then use that instead. And then if you need backwards compatibility, you can include the best mapping you can of with the old property name too.
Okay.
Just adding a minor thing regarding recurrence rules. We also changed the recurrence rule for time zones to a multi-value. This is now in line with iCalendar, although I don't think I've ever seen a time zone with multiple rules. So now it's all consistent across recurrence rules, excluded recurrence rules, and recurrence rules for time zones, that there are all multiple rules allowed.
Mm. What is unclear to me is so if in the future we have some of those minor changes, how easy it's going to be to update the specification? So I mean, that was my question behind. Do we need a version just to say, yeah, we're using version blah? So we are taking the not to keep all these legacy things.
In theory, we did
Well, I
that
mean, I
with
think there's-
iCalendar, and it's been version 2 for the last 20 different things that have been added to it, and it still says it's version 2.0 to the point that we think it's rusted on. So we expect that adding a
Okay.
version number to JS Calendar would just be a rusty point that wouldn't get extended anyway.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think you have the @type property, which you could always change that to something different if you really wanted to signify a different version. So instead of @type JS event, @type JS event 2 or whatever. But I think that's probably a last resort. I think a better approach generally, as I said, is to change the semantics through defining new properties. Either they replace existing ones or augment them. So you could define a property that let you define exactly what order you interpret X rules, R rules, and other stuff. I don't think we do this, but you could if you wanted to change that semantics later. And then clients that understood that property would be able to look at it and use that for interpreting, and other ones would just ignore it. I think that to me is the more extensible model that it's likely to work.
Okay, good. So next question. Are we ready now to ship that?
I mean, I am, but is there anything remaining from Mike, Robert?
So I am ready as well. Just seen the discussion on the calcifier on the description, but I mean, this is a discussion that's been going in circles over the last years.
Yeah,
I think that was concluded. We don't need to change anything there. Yeah. So I see no open points other than I'd just like to talk with you, Neil, shortly later on about the time zone property names so that we are consistent there. But that's sure. A thing of a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay, right. So I think we are still in working group last call. What I'm wondering is, should we start a new working group last call, or is it fine to keep the current last call? That's maybe something I have to discuss with Brown. Yeah.
I mean, what I don't understand the process. So what would be the difference?
So the difference would.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Go,
Brown. So the difference would be either we still consider we're still in the same working group last call, and we ended up that when everything is fixed, or we start a new working group last call, which is we've made during the last working group last call we made a few fixes, and now this is the real working group last call. So it doesn't really change anything, given that it just, I mean, the advantage I see of having a new working group last call is just that we keep people a heads up that now, I mean, within, you have two weeks to respond, otherwise it's going to be shipped. While now maybe some people are not very aware that there is a working group last call ongoing. So
I think just an email to the list saying we're planning to ship it on the 15th of August or something like that.
Okay.
Please get your input in by then, or forever hold your peace.
Yeah.
Until the errata.
Well, yes, obviously that'll start almost immediately. But I mean, it's still got to go through all the IETF reviews as well. So there's going to be more stuff. I think if we say 2 weeks from now, put up or shut up, that should be fine.
Just wondering if Barry has an opinion on that.
Tuned out doing something else, so give me a quick, what are you asking from me?
So we were asking, should we send to the mailing list to say an email saying, yeah, the working group last call is going to end up in July 15. So if you have any comments, just provide your inputs, or we just start a second working group last call.
Another working group last call is fine.
So you would recommend to do another working group last call?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it's the same as sending a notification that in 2 weeks is going to be.
2 week working group last call is fine. It's been through so many of them, and this time for real.
And unless it's just not to be
really last call. Yeah.
Really last call.
The last call.
Yeah. Last drinks, people. All right.
Okay. So I'm happy that is being moved forward. Then we have, a bunch of slides, but I think, I don't know, I think Mike put most of those, but so no, iCalendar series. So I think that's Mike, but he's not attending the meeting, I guess. Oh, Ken.
Just want to say, I don't think Mike wanted to spend the 125 one-day fee for a 1 hour session. I think that's why he's not here.
But to me, does anyone has any comments to say regarding all this draft? My understanding is that they're still waiting a small changes, and that it's going to be updated. The reason it has not been updated now is just that we were focused on GS Calendar. So here is mentioning the abstract need works, ICAV relations. So this draft was somehow a little bit forgotten.
I did a little bit of digging on one of our calls on this one. This appears to have gone through working group last call, and I think Bron was going to move this forward back in November as a part of a bigger batch of things he did, and I think this one just got missed.
Yeah. But do we agree, Bron?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ken, just press the button that turns your audio straight on rather than asking to come in the queue. I reckon with a group this small, it's easy just to hop in and talk when you want to. Yes, yeah, I haven't been pushing on that because I didn't want to distract Mike from getting JS Calendar out the door. But it should be easy enough just to do this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike feels that it's complete, and it did go through working group last call. His only question on this is, does he need to just refresh the draft as is because it has expired, or is it okay to move an expired draft forward?
No, it will need to be submitted as a new draft, so that that can be. So yeah, if he could upload a new draft, then I will do a short. This is getting published very, very soon. Just a reminder, it's had a working group last call already, but give people a week to dive in and comment or something.
Okay, I'll have them do that.
Okay, but the draft. I mean, we had consensus on that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part. I suppose this one is also from with a minor updates that just need to be fixed before moving to working group last call. And this one was I don't know, Robert O'Neill or Brown. You want to say something on JS Calendar, iCalendar?
Robert probably knows more than I do.
Okay.
Yeah, so the open points that Mike is referring to in these slides is also the points that are discussed on the calcify list. So other than that, I understand that that the mapping is almost done completely. Yeah, so what I gather from this is that also this document is quite matured now, and it should most likely be done soonishly after the JS calendar spec is rubber stamped. Okay,
so that's good, because I was a little bit afraid after the last interim meeting that it's gonna last forever, but yeah, if we could move that on, it's really great.
You mean this? You mean this mapping document? You were afraid?
Yeah, the mapping document.
No, it's it should be timely finalized as soon as the JS calendar data model is finalized.
Okay, so that's great.
All right, I'll put an action for myself on that as well to make sure there's a milestone for it.
In regards to the URL, I know Mike's concern is that he wants to make sure that that is round trippable from iCalendar to JS Calendar and back. And I think the concern is that if the URL property just becomes a link in JS Calendar, and there's multiple links from, whatever they might be, locations or something else, how do you know which one of those links goes back to the URL property in iCalendar?
Okay. But as long as it is solvable, it's fine.
Yes, I think it's solvable.
So, okay, that's good. I think we've been through all the draft. Yeah. Do you want to say something, Ken, on the VLARM or?
There's not much there. I uploaded a new draft based on your review. Daniel, thank you for that. And assuming that you're happy with what I submitted and I addressed all your comments, I think we're ready to move forward.
Okay, so I guess that's an action for me to move that draft forward. Yeah, so okay, I will have a look at this one, and so we have, if I'm correct, Barry, you will soon receive 3 drafts. And I don't know, yeah, Barry, do you want to say something?
Just joy. Thank you.
It might be 4 actually, because the JS calendar mapping, the iCalendar relations, VLARM, and JS calendar itself.
Cool. I love to see working groups making progress. Thanks.
Okay, so I don't think we have anything else to add, unless someone wants to say something. I'm pretty happy about the progress we're making. And I also believe that we had significant reviews on the document, which is also something that is good. So I'm pretty happy. Bron?
Yeah, I'm happy as well. Things seem to be working reasonably nicely at the moment. It's a pity Mike isn't here to talk about things, so it does make the meeting shorter. I expect we will do probably another interim at some point once the JS calendar documents are done to then look at the other documents, possibly at a time that's more suitable for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say we should go over the milestones before we're done, but other than that, I don't have anything.
So if we want to look at where we are.
If you go to the About page.
Yeah.
So up past all the done ones, a little bit higher.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
So yeah, are we the alarm July? So we.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we'll make that
Today
August.
is fine.
Yeah. JS calendar will be fine. Scheduling controls I need to fix up, but that should be fine. I think it's going to become a very short draft. It's about 5 lines long, and that will say just makes the schedule reply header, which is already defined, also apply to things which are not replies. I think rather than defining additional headers and all the other stuff, it will just be schedule reply means don't send any scheduling messages regardless, because if you're going to add server-side support, you won't be able to detect whether it's there anyway. So why not just use the header that's already defined? So that will become a very short document. And apart from that, we were going to add the JS calendar mapping, which I think will be September probably. Give it a bit of time after that. And the other things still seem fine to me.
Okay.
Is iCal relations still on that list as complete, or?
Oh no, good point. Yeah, iCalendar relations I'll put in for August as well. So we'll submit 3 in August and 1 in September.
Yeah. Okay, so looks great. We're in line with the last predictions of last month. And yeah, so thank you everyone for attending the meeting. I think we can adjourn that meeting. I will probably hang out in gather.town for some time, so I'm happy to be pinged there. And but I would say see you in the next interim meeting that is to be seen, to be planned.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye all.
Just wave. All right. See you in Gather Town.